I honestly think that it was a lot harder to start teaching than it was to start a life here. The teachers, you're with them and it's like, all right, we're together, we're in it together. So you spend a lot of time with them. So I don't think it was hard to start the outside of life here, but the teaching was definitely very overwhelming, especially because you're kind of just like thrown into it. If you look at the first day of school video from 2 years ago, they like captured me right when I came out of my first class ever. And I remember the person working here, she was like, how was your class? And I like stopped and I was just so overwhelmed because it was such chaos. And the only thing I could think of saying was that they were very enthusiastic. That was the nice way of phrasing it. The longer you're here, the more of a relationship you have with the kids. I love them with all my heart. They know they have my heart, and they get away with way too much, and they know it. I don't know if I'll ever have kids in the future, but they're gonna have some pretty high standards to meet because I know a lot of really great kids. In the morning, they're still a little sleepy, so they usually listen to what I'm saying. They're not fighting as much. We finished reading the book The Hatchet, and I told them that we'd watch the movie after, and they worked hard. They did work hard. I feel so weak when they're reading. They pull me over and like, Miss Sara, this is the question, and I cannot find it. I've read all of these pages. Look, I see this word. And then we like go back and we look through it together and they find the answer. I just feel like a proud mom. And they do work really, really hard when they want to. So it's my way of trying to show them that I see that they're working hard and I want to reward the behavior and that they did earn it. They did deserve to have some popcorn and watch a movie. For the computer class, for science, we're doing animals, and we are still kind of working on like a computer class curriculum, so you can really tell the differences in the abilities on the computer from the kids from Progreso in the cities versus the kids from Villa that only have access to a computer when they're at school. So them doing the project, it's them learning about the animals, but it's also teaching them how to copy and paste something and put it into a document, or how to insert pictures into a Google Drive. It was kind of my way of trying to teach them a little bit of those technical skills as well as having them learn about animals. They were trying to convince me that they deserved to use a computer, even though there were not enough computers to go around. And some groups were working without computers. So they said to me that if I give them a computer, they would be the best behaved students for the next 2 weeks. And I thought they would be saying in 2 weeks when school was over, they would be the best behaved student. Anyone asks me about teaching here, I said the most important thing you have to be able to do is be flexible. If you are not able to change on a second's notice, you're going to have a very, very difficult time teaching. So like that, I told everyone in advance I was going to go to the computer lab, but Jessie was doing testing. So that meant she had 7 of the computers because we have to finish testing by a certain date. So that meant I had 5 groups that didn't have a computer. So it was, all right, what's our backup plan? What are we gonna do? And it's things like that. So the Wi-Fi's out, what are we gonna do? Or there's no power, or the copy machine is broken. How are we gonna get by? What are we gonna do? You always have to have a plan A, B, C. Like that. It was, all right, we don't have enough computers, but I know you guys like to watch the videos of animals, so I'm gonna put on the animals and I want you to tell me every animal you see and what type of animal it is and 2 facts about it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it is an absolute disaster. One of my students, she loves to go, Miss Sara, K boring. I could say, you know what guys, we're not gonna do class today, we're gonna watch a movie, and she'd be like, Miss Sara, K boring. So I always try and find some sort of fun activity to do at the end of a unit or the end of a topic to try and throw something fun in, because I know that it's another way to reinforce what they're learning, and they're kids, they just wanna have fun. And I want to have fun too, so might as well do it. They got a little tired and rowdy at hour 2, so we went back. We went back to class, and then Jenny, who's an angel, cooked the tamales for me, and she brought them back to our class at the end of the day, and we sat in class and ate tamales together, and it was nice. And for the most part, I think the kids enjoyed them. I enjoyed them. I ate like 3, so the real winner was me. I go to my break at 11, and I have my planning until 12:30. Usually, I have all my activities prepared, so all I would have to do is print out and make copies. I am lucky, but also kind of unfortunate that my break is during all the lunches. So I like to go and like hang out with the kids sometimes. So I know I have to do like 20 different things, but I see like 5 kids I just want to go chase around the soccer field, and that will take up 45 minutes. But it's fun. That's why you're here. You're here because, for the most part, because you want to work and be with the kids. After lunch, it's like, please, dear God, come back inside. Sit down. We have to get through some stuff. It's funny. They do argue with me a lot. When they pick arguments, it's because they don't understand why we are doing what we're doing. Even children, like adults, they need to know the reasonings behind we are doing something. So if they don't fully understand and they don't agree with it, they're going to fight back. So it is the extra step that you have to go to explain why I am doing certain things, but usually once they understand the why, they're like, okay, we will do it. One time at the beginning of the year, when I had very little control over the class, everyone was crazy. They were just running around, shouting, and I was standing at the front of the board, and Scarlett, she was looking at me, and she started making like the thunder and the kissy noises, and I got on my knees to her desk, and I said, Scarlett, I need you to stop. And she turns at me without even thinking. She hits her desk and she goes, get angry, explode, cry. And I just started laughing. I was like, oh my goodness, these children are gonna kill me. But it was that little moment where I was like, all right, you gotta get it together. And I stood up and I was like, Oche, sit down. Scarlett, stop. Jeffrey, why are you out of your seat? We're doing this. We're not going home until everyone does it. Sit down, be quiet. And I will never forget that moment, because it was a moment of pure disorder and chaos. A 12-year-old telling me to cry, and then I just laughed it out, and was like, all right, now we're doing it. am lucky. I have one of the smaller classes. I have 25 kids in my class. At least 6 of them would have one-on-one aids or two-on-one aids in the classroom. So a lot of that is creating systems for rewards, creating leadership positions that they like to do in order to get them to get back into class. Or, all right, everyone, we need to scream and get out all our energy. All right, we're gonna scream, and then when I put my hands down, we're gonna be silent and we're going back to work. But for this 2 seconds, you have all my permission in the world to scream as loud as you can, as long as you just get rid of that energy so we can actually start doing some work. If I personally am so hot and mentally exhausted, I cannot imagine how they are feeling. So a lot of times I have to recognize how I'm feeling and imagine if I were 12 years old and having to learn every single day. So usually I try to throw in something fun that will take up 15, 20 minutes to bring their energy up, get them ready to go. That was just something I remembered. Miss Jessie told me. She's like, we did that, and she's like, do you remember like the boom stop stop? I was like, oh yeah. She's like, I did it with my class, and they were blown away. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna do that after lunch, and we'll see if they can figure it out. I had 2 come to the front of the board today, and they were able to get it all the way done. I know all the friendships, all the fights, who I need to keep apart, and who's just talking about boyfriends, and when they're talking about drama. I like to choose my battles. I always tell them when they're in group, as long as they are doing their work, they are allowed to talk. But I will be very upset if they are in their groups and they are choosing to just talk and not do their work. So usually I'll do my instruction, we'll do a new topic, review a topic, and then I'll put them in groups. Sometimes I let them choose their groups, and they get one opportunity. They have my trust until they show me that I cannot give them my trust. Fighting happens all the time. They're always in fights with one another. So I always try and talk to them. I try to, if they need to talk to me about something, I want to be a person that they feel like they can trust and talk to. Go talk it out, go work through your feelings. We'll try and resolve the problem instead of just letting it build up and have that resentment stay in the classroom. Because then it just creates drama between all the kids, because they're all nosy, they want to get in. If I could see one student on graduation day in 2025, it would be Jessica. I know for Jessica, all the challenges are thrown on her. She has an uphill battle from now until that day, and she can do it. She is very smart, and she sometimes just needs a little push or a little motivation to apply herself. And I am already so proud of everything that she has accomplished, but I would love to be there and see her graduate on that day. I have a couple kids from Villa who are not even remotely close at being on grade level. So I try to stay after with them and do their homework with them. Sometimes we just read books that are at their level, and sometimes they don't want to go. So they say, I want to stay after with you, I want to do something. So I wanted to try and provide them with a space where they felt comfortable. And that meant that I subjected myself to a lot of personal issues that they were going through. And it's not something that you can just go home and stop thinking about. So when they would say, I don't want to go home, I would, okay, we're going to stay here. We're going to stay here until 3:30 because that's as long as I can physically be with you to make sure that everything is fine. And it's hard not knowing what's going on after those hours. I think my favorite experience, it's just been like a mixture of a bunch of little moments. It is always the one-on-one interactions. It's the kid that comes over and says, I finally understand math. I never understand math, but I get it right now. For this one moment, I understand it. And it's also been the moments where they're just joking around and I should be angry, but it is really funny and really cute. So I'm going to pretend not to laugh, but I'm laughing. The Honduran stuff that we have, they're honestly some of my favorite people I've ever met. It's like ever. So you have a long day of school and you're just tired and you want to go home and you get on the bus and Ever's there just like firing jokes at you and you're like, all right, everything's fine. Sometimes I'll go with the teachers and get coffee and we just talk about our day, say what ridiculous things the kids did or what funny stories we have. They've taught me how to look at the humor in a lot, because honestly, a lot of the times it's just chaos. Going to the gym for me is my way of dealing with the stress that comes with the job. It is my way of like pushing out all the feelings that I have and just releasing the stress that I have from the day. And it allows me to be like, you know what, tomorrow's gonna be a new day, we're gonna start fresh, everything's gonna be fine, I'm gonna get 500 hugs when I go to school, there's no way you can't love that. I was very introverted growing up. I think it has to do because I was an only child, so I was used to being on my own and it's what I was comfortable with. But I was lucky enough to develop really strong friendships where if I tried to be on my own, they would tell me that I needed to get over it and go and hang out with them, go and do social things, even if I wanted to spend time alone. So I think over time I've become accustomed to wanting to be around people, wanting to spend more time with people, and it is now what I enjoy today. I don't think it is fair, some of the circumstances that people are faced with, especially children, and I don't like that a future could be impacted by the circumstances that they are given. I am very fortunate to have what I have, and I just hope that we're able to change some of the circumstances to help them reach every goal that they have. Because when you ask them, it's what do you want to be when they grow up, it's like no one says like, oh, I just want to do exactly what my parents did or just stay here. They're all like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a veterinarian, I want to be a scientist. So I don't want any of their circumstances to hold back any goals that they have. The secret is to love what you're doing. There are some days you just come in so tired and exhausted and it's honestly, you don't want to be there. And then I get off the bus and I see 5 kids walking over to me to give me hugs and I'm like, all right, this is why we're here. I need to give them everything I have because I know they're going to give me everything that they have.